Liverpool beat Brighton 3-0 to advance to the fifth round of the FA Cup with goals from Curtis Jones, Dominic Szoboszlai, and a penalty from Mo Salah. That's 2 wins, 2 clean sheets in the last few days. 2 very different performances that both had very encouraging signs moving forward. We'll go into that, shall we? I'm Chris. Welcome to Kop That. Your calm, no clickbait, no drama, no knee-jerk, no bullshit. Look at the game. Episode 8. Well, this was about as chill and relaxed as we've been watching Liverpool since the Karabakh game, right? In this slightly extended episode, we're going to be going into how the perception of Liverpool is affected by like the performances, the results, the outside noise. But the only thing that really matters is the result, and anything else is just a bonus. One thing I've mentioned, and I brought it up quite a bit, is taking chances, and that makes a huge difference to how a game is looked at. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at 3 different games, one taking us back to the start of this channel, almost the reason that this channel was started. So we're going to look at how those performances were interpreted given the noise at the time. We've got player performance reviews, the game itself, 8 days until the next game for preparation. But let's get into this for now, shall we? I saw the post-match stuff. Arne Slot at his press conference looked about as relaxed as he's looked in a long time. That's not surprising. But he'll know that the difference in all of this is purely about the result. He mentions performances, the good and the bad, with honesty. He always does. He just says it as he sees it, and he's looking at it through a manager's eyes. So if we have a bad performance and everybody's screaming about it, oh, we were shit, we were this, that, the other, it's not his job to go along with that. It's his job to pick out the good things to work on, the things that worked, the things that didn't work. That's his job. That's his job. Like, he'll mention some good things in a defeat and just get yelled at through a fucking screen, whatever screen you're watching it on. And he said last week that sometimes you'd have to say after a good game, like a good win, that maybe you weren't as good as you think. And that was a little insight that kind of got overlooked. But he's giving you the views of a manager. And he's not got the same wild, clickbaity mood swings that people seem to have. Supporters generally, our moods are just all over the place. Weeks defined by the results, right? So with the praise this week, I'm going to put this all into context and show you that despite the boring shouts and stuff and the criticism of good performances that didn't get a result, this Brighton game wasn't too much different, except for the fact that we put our chances away. That's the difference. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through some stats. So as you can see, Brighton had more possession, more shots blocked, more corners, only 1 less touch in our area than we had in theirs. I'm going to say about the touches in the opposition penalty area. You'll see what I mean down here. They weren't exactly under siege, right? And this obviously takes away from like the reality of the fact that a chunk of the attempts were from range and missed by a mile, but also misses out a header across the goal that 1-0 Alisson had to claw away, which would have been a certain equaliser. When we go into defensively, where are we? Alisson made more saves, they made more tackles, they were successful in more of them. Liverpool made more blocks and clearances, and the numbers all point to an away team that actually did well and were managed well by Liverpool. But the difference is one quite simple thing. The chances that we had were better and we took them. That's the nature of it. And that's the creative side that you don't see too much in these stats. So, like, two shots on target can be completely different. It can be like a slow, nothing shot that the keeper just kind of picks up more than anything, or a rifled effort that gets tipped over the bar. That's why I only really glance at stats normally. I've done this maybe once, maybe twice. I think maybe once in these videos, but it's just to usually give you a visual, like a picture of what's happened. But they don't tell the full story. But they used a lot as a stick to beat teams, and in this case, manager. And what's been obvious a lot recently is that we've had no problems at all creating chances. It's taken them. That's the problem. And while results should always fall on the manager's head, but he's there to he's there. It's part of the job to take that off the players and protect them as much as he's there to manage the team. Because that's part of managing the team, is looking after them. We've actually had better performances than this. You know what I mean? Than this game. But with either a silly individual error that's cost us, or missed chances costing us. And in those instances, it is down to the players. As much as it's easy to blame the manager, it is down to the players. At the end of it, because he can only do so much. You can't get on there and put the chance away for them. You know what I mean? So, I'm glad, in a way, that the manager's taken that flack at times this season. Say at times, most of the season. Instead of them, but logically, he shouldn't be the one with a threat to his job, really, should he? He's done his part. And the players aren't getting it done, but that's the whole thing. That's the whole team effort, right? So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to when this channel started and work our way through. We've got 3 games, including that Brighton one, which we've just looked at. We're going to go to Burnley at home, when criticism was high. Sunderland away, when it was kind of mixed after the City game, but we were still kind of, well, we played well. You know, we after Newcastle played well in the second half against City, so it wasn't as like intense, the pressure. And then back into the Brighton game. So we're just going to go into the attacking side of it, right? So yesterday, we did okay, right? You know what I mean? We had a fair few corners, few shots, 5 on target, and so on and so forth. We did okay, right? But if you look at this Burnley game in comparison, when Slot was getting like booed and criticised, you'll see a game. Where are we? That with our conversion rate yesterday, should really have been 6 or 7-0 instead of 1-1. And this, I touched on it in that video of that game, which was, that was a good performance. We just didn't take the chances. And when you see a game which is not as impressive in terms of the pressure put on, but we win 3-0, it's just better, isn't it? And that's because, for all of the complaints, it's ultimately the result is the only thing that actually matters. If you get 3 good results, but the 3 quite meh performances, or 3 decent performances, that's a lot better than 4 games of playing great, but picking up 2 points. That's just the reality of it. And I understand that. I just wish, because it's really been put into focus this season. And I'm wishing, between, the load of defeats and then like better results, but mostly draws, and then the last couple of weeks when we've won 3 out of the last 4, I think, or is it 4 out of the last 5? I wish the debate itself would carry over and kind of work itself out publicly. But when we've done well, it kind of gets just dismissed. And that's why I'm not really interested in going into those debates when they happen. I'll just put the point out there and then I'll screw. I'll get out the way. And here's another reason why. This is the last two games. This is the Sunderland game from Wednesday night, right? Yeah, let's get that up. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? There's the XGs and stuff like that. But again, the possession, we have more possession than we did yesterday at home to Brighton. More shots. This, that, and the other. Expected goals, shots, fucking defensive. When you compare all of it, like Wednesday was. I mean, you could argue that Wednesday was a better performance than last night too, and I think it was. I think it was more of a necessary performance than it was like classy or good. It was a battling performance on Wednesday, but like last night had a lot more shine to it. You know what I mean? There was a bit more. I mean, that second goal really helps. That's a lovely goal, and it looks like we've genuinely created that from playing off from the back. But when you see all of these stats and you look at, like, let's just compare the Sunderland ones again, right? This is Sunderland attacking versus Brighton, right? For Sunderland, we were away. We're on the right here, obviously, because we were away. 23 shots against Brighton, we had 13. Shots on target, 3. Brighton yesterday, 5. And touches in opposition box, 27 against Brighton, 42 against Sunderland. So, like, and again, you mix that in with, like, the possession and the control that we had. We missed 3 big chances there as well, and it's just. So that's why for me Wednesday was a better performance. Basically, that's what I'm saying. That's how I see it. Now you might see it as a better performance yesterday because we were quite solid defensively, but we were banging the goals in and we were threatening to get more. So you might see that. I just look at the actual the team performance overall. I thought was better on Wednesday than yesterday, but yesterday was still good. But they were 2 very different performances, and both knowing the fact that we can do both of those performances within a few days of each other, home and away. Don't forget Sunderland hadn't lost at home. It's good to know that we can pull that out, but it's been players mostly, like inconsistency with the players. That's been our downfall this season. Because creating chances hasn't been the issue. Putting them away has been an issue. Defending well hasn't actually been that much of an issue. For large chunks, at least, at times. Obviously, it's been almost comical. But for large parts of the season, it hasn't been that much of an issue. It's been fucking Liverpool being 2-0 up away to Leeds and cruising, and then Canate barrels someone over for a penalty and they get the wind in the sails. And like Alisson against City, no need to really come out there, gives the penalty away in injury time. Those are the type of things that have cost us. But I've had a lot of positives, even going back to the City game, because I thought we probably, I'd say a draw was really fair there, but we could have very easily just won that game. Like, this week has been really good, as in terms of like defensively, attacking, possession, and the battling. Even though the midfield still looks like it's quite easy to play through at times, they've dug in. And what's that? I feel like we still just need a number 6, like an out-and-out number 6. We haven't really had one since like Fabinho, prime Fabinho left. But I feel like if that gets more solid, we actually have somebody who can play there. I think that alone puts us on a much better footing going forward, even without addressing the balance of the squad issues that we're going to need to address in the summer. But this week has shown all of that, all of the good stuff, with a little bit of the shit thrown in. And I'm more optimistic after this week, and I've been optimistic anyway for the future. I'm looking like further long term than just this season. I've been more optimistic anyway, but this week I feel better after this week than I have done all season. Honestly, there's been 3 different games, totally different styles each game, and generally speaking, we came out of it with a couple of bruises from the City game, and that's about it. Other than that, we've passed the test, right? But I'm just showing you that like these stats and things are actually just take them in context. Basically, actually watch the game, not just the highlights. I mean, obviously you can't always watch the game. Sometimes you'd have to just watch the highlights. But if you actually watch the games, you'll see more of what I'm talking about. Don't immediately just go online and start saying, fucking shit, we didn't even win. Or we threw it away at the end or whatever. Look overall, because don't forget, this is still building. That's the point I'm trying to make, is these performances are indicative of what's going to happen further down the line. Because obviously they're going to try and cut out the negative shit and keep the positive shit and add more positive shit. It's not like the negatives are going to get bigger. They're the things that are going to be surgically removed as we go forward. But that was just putting yesterday's game in comparison to other games where criticism's been higher, criticism's been kind of meh, and then yesterday when everybody felt quite good and comfortable, as they should. But I just wanted to add that little bit of context. Anyway, so we'll move on now because we need to talk about the actual the game itself. And I feel like I've just rambled on. Let's get into the game. There isn't too much in the way of chances for the first 20-25 minutes, but around there we do get a deflected effort from Curtis Jones, which kills just past the top corner. Despite it was a deflected shot, it was absolutely a deflected shot, despite the goal kick being given. That wasn't the first refereeing decision of the evening. About 8 minutes later or so, Salah blitzes past Kadioglu. He fucking ran him ragged all night. Pokes a tame shot straight to Jason Steele. Kirkes a minute later. I mean, he put 2 defenders on their asses earlier on to take a shot, but I think it was ruled offside somehow. I don't know how. But he got in again on his left foot, smashed a shot, which was tipped over the bar. I may be wrong here, but was that given as a corner? I can't remember. I might be getting that mixed up with the other one. There's a Gakpo offside goal in there somewhere, but it's not really worth talking about because he was well off. Then, 42 minutes in, the ball squirms loose. Kirkes chases it down. Reacted really well, puts a lovely ball across the area, and on the bounce, and I love these finishes, they're so difficult to do. On the bounce, Curtis Jones side foots in off the bar. Deserved overall 1-0 lead. But then it just always happens, doesn't it? We score. Brighton start pushing up. A misplaced pass and sends Gomez on the turn, Jones on the turn, who falls over. Van Dijk luckily gets across to kind of put off Gomez, doesn't give him the time to take the shot. Alisson's come out, good goalkeeping. That preserves the lead for half time. A couple of minutes into the second half, though, Alisson gave us one of those heart and mouth moments. He's gave us loads of those recently. That's been calling them moments. And yeah, he gave us another one. He goes to clear the ball. It hits Gomez. And, like, thankfully, goes wide. Maybe 3-4 minutes later, a few minutes later, Kirkes is fouled. I'm not mixing my words up here. Kirkes is fouled. And the referee, bizarrely, inexplicably, he gives a free kick to Brighton. And I think I actually said on the live watch along, these are the ones that normally go in. And it nearly fucking happened. A great ball. There was a great ball to the far post. Lewis Dunk tries to head it back across goal to 2 completely unmarked Brighton players. Nobody followed them in. But Alisson luckily reacted and clawed the ball away. That's a big moment in the game because I think it was less than 5 minutes later. Ball gets put into Gakpo around the halfway line. He cuts inside on his right, shocker, right, and sprays a beautiful ball out to Mo Salah, who cushions it perfectly with his right into the path of Soboslai, who, in his usual fashion, absolutely fucked the ball past Jason Steele into the far corner. There's no chance he's saving it. It's a lovely goal. It's a lovely goal, and it's 2-0 and looking very comfortable at this point. Salah then kind of caps off Kadioglu's work for the evening by making his own look. It was back to goal about halfway into the Brighton half. He pulls off a 180 and gets the sprint, right? Kadioglu actually catches up to him, as Mo slows down, obviously. Catches up to him, and Salah just barges into him and actively just, like, get the fuck out. Just puts him on his ass. Out muscles him completely, gets into the area, is like tripped and pulled and fucking all of it, really. Gets a penalty. It's a clear as day penalty, and he gets up, smashes into the top right. Made the entire thing himself. It's basically an individual goal because it came from nothing and he made the entire thing. That's a classic Salah moment. And I could understand why people were giving him man of the match shouts, but we'll go into that in a little bit. Not too much again happened because the game is dead at this point. It's over. But I just want to shout out that Rio Ngamoa comes on later, scores a perfectly good goal, curled it in to the far corner with his right foot. Great finish, but it's ruled offside, and that was wrong. Bastards. Obviously, it's all smiles after the game. And yeah, that's about it. There were fouls here and there. There was the Seagull man in the crowd. He was a highlight, I'm not going to lie. Him and the commentators, Ali McCoy, their response to it, yeah, tickle me. Really entertaining. Yeah, good game. And it was a good win. But how did the players do? Well, I'll tell you. They did quite well, actually. Alisson had a couple of moments, as I mentioned. The clearance off Gomez and the cockiest turn past the player that I've seen in a long time. Right in front of his goal. Not off to the sides. Right in front of his fucking goal. But everything else was great. He was there when Jones lost his foot and stopping that dunk header from reaching a teammate. And that was crucial given that we scored the second goal a few minutes later. Jones at right back was cool, and it's always cool because he doesn't try to be a right back. He is very much and plays very much like a midfielder playing at right back. He gets into different positions than you'd expect. He seems to have more freedom to move around, whether he's doing that of his own free will or whether he's told to do that. Which he did for his goal. Timing his run perfectly for a really underrated finish. I'm just going to mention it again. The ball comes across and on the bounce, and Jones is in the air just to control it, side foot it, trying to keep that down. In off the bar. It was a really underrated finish. Gets him his first goal in quite a while. And I think I've mentioned this a couple of times, but I'm going to just say out loud again, start him more, please. Even if it's in midfield. I know it's a struggle there. You know what I mean. I'm pairing Van Dijk and Kanate together because the dynamic duo put in another great shift, another great performance, winning duels, almost every fucking header that they need to win. If I was rating the better of the two, I'd say Van Dijk edges it. I feel like he maybe had a little bit more to do and covered. He had to cover a little bit more. But it was great from both again. Kerkez was my man of the match. And it baffled me because I was watching it on TNT. And they brought up three players in contention for man of the match, which was Curtis Jones, Mo Salah, and Dominic Szoboszlai. I'm not going to argue if you pick any of them. Right, Mo Salah was I'll just put this out there now. Mo Salah was my second. I'm not going to argue if you picked any of them because they all had a great game. But the fact that Kerkez's name wasn't even mentioned, it kind of don't forget about him after those names have been mentioned. How he wasn't in contention for that really blows my mind. He was not the fourth best player on our team at all. He defended well, almost nothing got in down that side. He was in the tackles, never gave up on that loose ball, getting himself an assist, and honestly probably could have had a goal himself. In the end, he won a couple of fouls at crucial moments as well. Should really have won another one, but it got given against him somehow. But it was awesome stuff, and we're really starting to see that guy we signed into the midfield. McAllister, while not headline grabbing, it was similar to midweek, and that he was so up for the midfield battle. And I'll just show you this actually. Where are we? Off we go. We'll get back to that screen, and we will go. Where is it? This one? It's not that one. It's not that one. It's that one. I had a lot of windows open here, but you see, like, this is the tackles made. And McAllister made 8 tackles, which is twice as many as anybody else. And this is something that I mentioned about the Sunderland game as well, where, while he's not grabbing the headlines, he's not getting himself a goal or the assist or whatever, he's really getting stuck in, and that defensive side of his game is really starting to shine through. And that's kind of, I guess, a stepping stone on his way back to form. But he's linking up well, and he's getting back there. Hopefully we see some real McAllister form before the end of the season. But I said this on Wednesday as well. I'll take this guy for the rest of the season and then just get him back. Get him back over the summer. We need the rest of the midfield, though, to kind of tighten up and stop being so easy to play through. But Szoboszlai, again, great as always. Got himself a banger of a goal again, and was a driving force going forward while being useful as well, because he's a really useful outlet when we're playing out from the back. It goes into McAllister quite a bit, but they're expecting it to go into McAllister. Szoboszlai makes that run and gets the play moving. When he doesn't receive it, he turns and makes the other one. There's a 1-2 on. There's a straightforward pass through to him. He's always there. He always wants to be involved, and I love watching him. The energy that he's got is unreal. But that was on full display yesterday. Slot was asked in the press conference after the game if he sees Szoboszlai as a future captain. And like, I've thought so for quite a while. In the future, not like the near future, but in the future. So I was really interested in this answer because what did he say? I've got the thing here. He mentioned him like leading by example, which he's starting to show him more and more and more. But he needs to be a bit more vocal. And I mean, it's good to know that he's looking at that. Like, he's got the criteria there and kind of keeping an eye on it as it goes. But if he can learn to stand up and lead like that, learning from Van Dijk, that was the example Slot gave. And obviously you can't discount Andy Robertson from that, because he's been there. But they were obviously around Hendo and Milner. And like, Hendo was literally vice captain to Steven Gerrard before getting the armband himself. That we know this. If Szoboszlai gets the armband, we know that those standards are being met. So if he ever is given the captaincy, we know that he's ticked those boxes. But it's nice to know that it's being looked at, because he's got, on the pitch at least, he's got all of those attributes. And so that's just something to keep an eye on. Vert had a good game. That's who was next. Vert had a good game, but it's when everybody else steps up, he tends to like or seem like he's gone back into himself a little bit, so he doesn't stand out as much. But he did have a good game. He seems to dribble for the sake of dribbling. It's like he dribbles. There was a couple of times I think when he dribbled past the same player like 3 or 4 times, almost just to fuck with him. He didn't even shoot. There was no end product. He just did it just to fuck with the guy. I know he was trying to make a bit of space, but he was busy enough. And when we were a bit more comfortable, he was going over towards Salah a little bit more, and he was playing these neat little passes in these tight spaces, and that can be useful. You know what I mean? You know, when teams do sit back and they go compact and things like that, you've got two players that are good enough for doing that. That can be useful, and I just like seeing those little moments between the two of them. Didn't really go anywhere in the end, but it's just something to work on for them, isn't it? Right, the forward line, and I'm going to start with Gakpo. Don't even come at him with criticism this week. I can understand if you think he's been a bit quieter, but he was involved quite a lot, and you can still see him trying to tweak his game, trying to adapt. He's trying to form some sort of partnership with Kirkers, even if it's just using it off the ball runs. He cut inside to play a lovely pass out to Salah for the second goal. He was always asking for the ball. He was linking up with play as well. He was moving inside a little bit more, which helps Kirkers out, obviously. He scored a blatantly offside goal. I think he mentioned it was like 9 games, I think, or something, without a goal for him. But it's gonna come. But I've been quite happy with him this week because it's been different from him. It is not just the one trick pony stuff that we've all kind of resorted to criticising. But he's trying, and I can't fault a player if they're trying. I really, really can't. Some of it comes off, some of it doesn't. And if he's going to be doing this, I won't complain about him starting. So there's that. Right, the interesting one here, Chiesa, didn't do enough for me to justify all of the calls for a start, if I'm honest. He usually comes on and hurries about, gets stuck in, and we got flashes of that throughout the game. Got flashes of it for sure, but nothing seemed to come off for him. And he looked a bit lost out there at times, in all honesty. Like, maybe there's more there. Can those little flashes be spread out over a game? Over a full game? Or 60 minutes, 70 minutes? Or is he maybe just an impact player off the bench? I'm not complaining either way, in all honesty. I'd still have him in the squad, regardless. But he didn't take his chance by the scruff of the neck last night, and it felt like Salah did, Gakpo did, Szoboszlai did, Wirtz did. That they were all there and performing. He didn't seem to click with all of it. But at the same time, you can't just fault someone on a game. And the effort was there. Again, I've just mentioned with Gakpo, if the effort's there, I can't complain. He tried, and we still love the guy. Hopefully the next start goes better. And now, Mo. Salah, I've given him a bit of praise recently because of the things that people aren't looking at. Just off the ball work, his defensive work. It's something that Slot mentioned in the press conference after the game yesterday, and I talked about it in the last episode after the Sunderland game. Last night, he absolutely fucking terrorised Kadioglu. Like, to the point where the poor guy, when Salah went off, he looked like he was having fun and playing footy with his mates. After Salah went off, I don't even think he gave a shit what he was going to do with the ball. He just wanted to enjoy playing football for the night. Literally, as soon as Salah went off, he just looked happier. But Salah, when he has performances like this, right, it makes me think that he's got a touch of almost evil about him. In the fact that the biggest smiles that he plays football with when he's ruining a fullback's entire week. That's when he seems the happiest. And don't get me wrong, I love it. I love that kind of ruthlessness. That was that was Salah from fucking last season, 2 seasons ago that we saw last night. It was nice to see him back, but he was still working off the ball as well. If you can get all of this working for him, then yeah, it'll be a different Salah. Yeah, he's not going to get as many goals, but if players start taking the chances, his assist numbers are still going to be there, and he's going to be an important player still, assuming he doesn't go in the summer. And again, I mentioned earlier, he was my second place for man of the match. I thought he was great. Like, there was a few times as well, he actually showed he's still up for a race. I mean, he's always been up for a race, like, but he really was up for it. There was a time in the first half where he raced past, just poked a shot at the keeper. There was one in the second half as well when he, a lovely first touch got him free, and then it was fucking Matoma, of all people, tackling him back at the last. But yeah, he had a great game. I wasn't going to go through the subs. Like last night, it was nice to see Ramsey get on the pitch for a few minutes, get a couple of touches, but I just wanted to mention Rio again, because he did well. He got what should have been a great goal for him in front of the Kop, taken away from him. And it was annoying, and it was wrong. They got the decision wrong. But it's nice to know he still got that composure that we saw at Newcastle earlier in the season. And we all know it didn't officially count, but it was a goal in our hearts. So, final thoughts. I'll keep this one nice and short. It's been a weirdly long episode. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I felt like there was a lot to go into. I was going to do this or do a separate video during the week, but I'm not sure how many times going to work out because there's other work and shit that I need to do. So I thought I'd cram it all into one. Take me time. Just have a nice chat after a good week of Liverpool. I've enjoyed the performances for the most part over the last week. Obviously, there's a little period of the City game. But other than that, I've been happy with it. Keeps me optimism refreshed. And even though, like yesterday, the FA Cup isn't really what it was, it's still a major trophy. Especially domestically. It's like the major trophy domestically. And we should really be trying to win. And we saw that attitude towards it yesterday because there wasn't as much rotation as I was expecting. And the players worked their asses off to come away with a good win, taking us into the next round. So I feel like they see that as another avenue to come out with some success at the end of the season. The draw, these are things to keep an eye out for over the next week. The draw is the 16th, I think. And what about this fucking thing we do? There's another draw. Right, so it's the 16th of February is the FA Cup draw. The 27th of February, it's a bit later than I thought. It's going to be the Champions League quarterfinals, semi-finals, and all that shit. All that draw. That's the 27th. Games up next. We've got Forest away next week. I'm sure will be annoying as fuck. They've just got rid of the manager. Don't like playing against teams when they've just changed the manager. They have a bounce, don't they? But there's that. Then we've got West Ham at home. Where's the other fixtures here? Wolves away, Spurs at home before facing Brighton again away in the league this time. And I'm on paper, these are winnable. We can go on a good run. Obviously, it's a totally different league season, so there's no guarantees in any of these games. But we can go into them with some real confidence here. And now we've got 8 days to prep. It's not a 3-day turnover for these fixtures. We know, hopefully everybody, it's kind of sinky in. sinking, sunk in with everybody. That this is a transition and a cup run kind of season, and barring anything unbelievable, our manager's going to be here till the end of the season. So let's accept where we're at and enjoy it. Because I've loved the supporters as well. I've loved the supporters over the last few games. In the ground, at least. Not as much online, but that's getting there. So let's just, let's try and have a laugh with it if we can. Meme it. But support the team. As always. You know what I mean? I'm saying this every video now. And just see where we end up. See where we are at the end of the season. And then we can go back to ripping each other's throats out. But I'll be back after the Forest game, the next episode. As I said, I did plan to do something midweek, but I've squeezed a chunk of it into this video, like last minute, because I'm not sure if that's going to work out. So we'll just say for definite, I'll be back after the Forest game with the next episode. Yeah, so happy fucking weekend. And as always, up the Reds and slot in.